that just shows you that, Roy Keane's joking, saying, well, they're not going to ring me up, are we? And we all know they're not going to ring Roy Keane up. But you almost go, why? So we're shit, and we've not won the league in years. We're shit, and for the last 10 years, it's been a circus. We're shit, and our players can't hold on to a lead. We're shit, and our mentality is a joke. We're shit, and we're dropping points to all these teams at the bottom. But we won't ring Roy Keane up because Sir Alex Ferguson doesn't like him. I mean, this is Manchester United. It's like the bloody horse all over again, isn't it? You can't run an elite football club but not pick up the phone to people because you don't like them. Best in class, I heard. Oh, but we're not going to ring Roy Keane up. We'll ring Solskjaer up. We'll ring Carrick up. We'll ring Van Nistelrooy up. But we won't ring Roy Keane up, and we won't ring anyone up from the class of '92 because we don't like them either. And that's what I mean. That's the joke about this bringing Solskjaer back or Carrick back. They want United feel good, but they won't speak to half of our bloody legends because they've got issues with them. And, I'm not saying Roy Keane's the best guy for the job. I think a lot of us would love to see it. I'd love to see Roy Keane over bloody Solskjaer again because I've seen the Solskjaer movie. The Roy Keane movie would be 18. It would be X-rated. It would be bloody brilliant. Imagine the press conferences. I mean, life is so short. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Roy Keane doing press conferences as an interim manager at Man United. Yes, please. We might be shit, but it would be absolute box office. I mean, look, it was shit under Rangnick, but I enjoyed it because he spoke sense. But United won't pick up the phone. And it was the way Roy Keane just went, yeah, well, they're not going to ring, are they? And we know they're not going to ring. This is a football club that's on its arse. Should we not be asking questions of, you talk about best in class, you're speaking to fucking Solskjaer, but you won't ring Roy Keane because you've got an issue with him. That's not how you be good at football. Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole didn't get on. We won a bloody treble. If you're going to run a football club, you don't worry about, oh, he doesn't like him or he doesn't like him. You do what's best for your fucking football club. And that just jumped out to me last night. And also, they were, we've heard Nicky Button's Paul Scholes about how the club treat them. It's a joke. They're an absolute fucking joke. It's decision-making from Pratt's that's destroying this football club. You're never going to be successful in a business if you, before you even start, say, well, we're not dealing with them. We don't want them. We don't want those customers. It's a stupid way to run a football club. The second thing he said, though, was that, he's talking about the problems of the ownership and really slamming it. And he said, another problem is you've got Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill hanging around like a bad smell, still making decisions. And I thought, you know what? Me, I find it really difficult to criticise or say anything negative about Sir Alex Ferguson. To me and many Man United fans, if you're of a certain age, he was like your pretend dad or your pretend granddad because he was on the telly all the time. Man United were great. He was speaking. He was brilliant. A brilliant manager. And, I find it really difficult to say anything against Sir Alex Ferguson. I know some people do. They say about the horse and the Glazers. And there's no doubt that caused the issue that led to the Glazers. There's no doubt about it. A racehorse dispute between Sir Alex and the then shareholders of United led to the Glazers taking an opportunity, and here we are. But that's something else. Do I agree with Roy Keane saying that you've got Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill hanging around like a bad smell, still making decisions? Well, in a way, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't, because let's be honest, if Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill weren't there, they probably would pick up the phone to Roy Keane. They're not going to pick up the phone to Roy Keane because Sir Alex Ferguson's there because he doesn't like him. So I sort of do agree with Roy Keane on it. Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill making decisions at Man United, 12 years on since they left. I think it probably is a bad idea when you look at the decision. The reason I thought this through, right? And I don't know what your thoughts are. Do I want Sir Alex Ferguson making decisions at Manchester United anymore? And I thought about it, and my instinct was to say yes. And then I thought about it, and I thought about what Roy Keane said, and I went, well, hold on a minute. He was behind David Moyes. That's the word that started it all off. David Moyes started it all off. That was a fucking shit decision. I hated it. I mean, we weren't doing United Stand at the time, but oh my God, I hated Moyes getting that job. To me, I just knew it was wrong. I knew he wasn't up to it. I knew it was too big, and everybody listened to Sir Alex and David Gill, and it was a bloody stupid idea. But then you think, well, they've been speaking to him for 12 years. And we've been shit for 12 years. I mean, he probably had a say in Solskjaer. Fletcher's speaking to him now. I think that Roy Keane might be onto something there. But look, ultimately, if Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill are the reason they're not picking up the phone to Roy Keane, then they shouldn't be making decisions anymore, because that world doesn't exist anymore. You can't be like that. We don't have the power anymore. I think when you're the best team in England by a long way, you can afford to say don't speak to him. When you're on your arse, I think you've got to open up your you've got to open up your eyes, so to speak. And also as well, just to bring in what David Ornstein has said this morning. So David Ornstein is saying that Michael Carrick's very much in the race. Ruud van Nistelrooy's in the race. They're not going to speak to Ruud van Nistelrooy because they know Ruud van Nistelrooy from his time when he took over between Solskjaer and between Ten Hag and Amorim. So they're not going to interview Ruud. They already know about Ruud. They're going to interview Carrick and Solskjaer. And it got me thinking again as well. Why do we need to go for an ex-Man United player? Like, we're literally scraping the barrel if you think about it. I mean, look, we're going to do it, so we've got to get behind it. But look, devil's advocate, Van Nistelrooy sacked by Leicester, Carrick sacked by Middlesbrough, Solskjaer, terrible job at Cardiff, sacked by Besiktas. I mean, they're only coming in for the United feel-good factor, aren't they? There are managers out there that are out of a job. Laurent Blanc, Xavi, Joachim Low. There are managers out there that I think would take the job as an interim. Like, they would come in and take the job as an interim. Now, I'm not saying they're the right people, but they are coaches. If you said to Xavi, we'll give you the job as an interim until June and see how it goes, I'm sure he'd take it. If you said it to Laurent Blanc, I'm sure he would take it. Now, they might not be the right people, but what I'm saying is, they've got better CVs than these ex-United players. So we're only bringing them in because they're ex-United players. And coming from David Ornstein, he basically said they want to bring in a Solskjaer or a Carrick or a Van Nistelrooy because they want somebody that knows the United way, right? And this got me thinking, when were we last Man United? 12 years ago? 15 years ago?